Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good morning and namaste to everybody. The few who are brave souls who are gathered here and our much larger virtual audience. The subject today is Vedanta through 5 parables. Often I have seen that in all the teachings of Vedanta, it is the stories which people remember, the stories which people like. We know that Jesus taught through parables. Sri Ramakrishna taught through some very interesting parables. Great spiritual masters have often conveyed the spiritual truths through interesting stories. And they know our psychology, that we may not remember abstruse metaphysical truths, but everybody loves a nice story. Over the years, I've heard wonderful stories illustrating the most profound teachings of Vedanta. And I have told these stories a number of times. In fact, what I'm going to say today, 5 stories which I've collected, which sort of express the essence of Vedanta, the whole spiritual journey and the deepest truths. I have told these stories time and again. And I remember once, several years ago, at Oxford University, I was speaking with a professor of Chinese studies, whom I know. And I was just talking about the Vedanta talks. He was saying, your talks are very, very popular. I said, yes, but that's a problem. Because in this day and age, it's all online. So everybody has heard everything. And it's very difficult to come up with something new every time. I have to keep repeating myself. And that worries me. And the professor said, no, Swami, you don't have to come up with new things. People don't expect that from you. You know, when famous rock stars and pop musicians, they go and perform, people want their favorite songs to be played. The top hits, the golden oldies. So today we're going to hear some of the golden oldies. We have the 5 stories. 4 I have heard from monks in the Himalayas, either directly from them or through books or in the talks. And so I have no real textual source for those 4 stories, the first 4 stories. It's just word of mouth. It's an oral tradition handed down from teachers to student. And the 5th one is well known. The last story will be from Swami Vivekananda, which is published. So 5 stories and the most profound truths of Advaita Vedanta. The first one, and there's a method to my madness. Why I'm telling these stories, there's a particular sequence to it which we shall see. The first one deals with the methodology of Advaita Vedanta. What is going on here? This first story will show how Advaita teaches. In Advaita Vedanta, the journey is from ignorance to knowledge, from not knowing to realizing to knowing. And how it is done, there's a particular methodology. The reason I'm going to tell this particular story first is, all the other stories which will follow, they all have the same inner code. You will be able to identify what's going on there. So the first story is the key to unlocking the other 4 stories. In fact, it's the key to the entire Vedanta philosophy. The story of an ass, a donkey. So this is the washerman's donkey story. You have to imagine India. A washerman goes around, collects your dirty laundry and takes it. And he has a donkey on which he loads the laundry and then takes it to the river side, and then cleans it, washes it thoroughly, spreads it out on the rocks to dry your clothes, and then finally he will fold them nicely, and next day on the same donkey he will go around, do the rounds, and deliver the clean clothes back to you. Even now they do it. Although modern laundries have come into vogue now, and people do have machines to do their washing at home, but they're still the traditional washermen are there. At least I have seen them in my own childhood. So this washerman, he goes from his house with the load of laundry to be cleaned to the river. He loads up the donkey and takes it along there. And when he reaches the river, to his dismay, he finds if he had forgotten to bring the rope with which to tie the donkey to the tree. Now this is a disaster for the poor man, because if he has to go all the way back home, the day is wasted. And he can't leave the donkey untied, because if the donkey wanders off, and that's it. It's like the washerman's SUV, he'll be ruined. He's a poor man. And he's now wondering what to do. He can't leave the donkey untended. And a gentleman of the village walks past and says, what's wrong? And the washerman says, oh, sir, I'm in so much trouble. This is the problem. I forgot to get the rope. How do I leave the donkey? I have to work hard near the river all day, and I can't keep an eye on the donkey. The man said, there is no problem at all. Just pretend to tie the donkey. Go through the motions. That's all. Yes, just make sure the donkey sees you. So he does that. He pretends to take out the rope and tie it around the neck of the donkey and tie it to the tree, and the donkey is watching him. And then the washerman takes the load of clothes and tentatively goes to the river and looks back at the donkey, and the donkey is also looking back at it, but not moving, staying there near the tree. And the washerman washes the clothes, and once in a while looks back in the distance and sees the donkey is there. It's just eating grass and just staying there near the tree as if it's tied. In the evening, when he's all done, the clothes are washed and dried and folded. He brings them back and loads the donkey and says, "Hut, let's go back home." And the donkey doesn't move. Obviously, the donkey thinks it's tied. The washerman doesn't know what to do. I mean, if it was really tied, he could have untied it. But it's not really tied. What does he do? And he runs to the gentleman's house and says, "Sir, what trouble you have put me in. Now the donkey won't move." The gentleman said, the solution is very simple. Just pretend to untie it. Just pretend. Yes, just pretend to untie it. Go through the motions. Make sure the donkey sees you. And then the washerman comes back and goes through the charade of untying the non-existent rope. The non-existent rope. And the donkey watches. And then the washerman says, "Hut, let's go." And the donkey moves. So this story illustrates the whole spiritual, the philosophical methodology in Advaita Vedanta. In technical terms, this is called Adhyaropa Apavada. Adhyaropa Apavadabhyam Nishprapancham Prapanchate. This is the phrase. What does it mean? By the method of superimposition and desuperimposition, do the wise teach that which is transcendent, that which is beyond all names and forms and language and conventions, which cannot be expressed, which cannot be even thought about. How do you express the inexpressible, the absolute, being, consciousness, bliss, which is beyond words? Even when you use the words being, consciousness, bliss, what exactly is it that you're referring to? How do you teach that? This is the method. We will see what the method is, but the core of it is superimposition and desuperimposition. Somehow the donkey, which is free all the time, comes to think that it is tied. Similarly, we, the ever-free consciousness, awareness, unlimited being, immortal, we come to feel that we are in samsara. We feel we are tied to these bodies. We are born with the birth of the body. We age with the aging of the body. We die with the death of the body. This seems to be to us to be concrete truth. It's far from the truth. We are tied in samsara, and tied to people and bad relationships and financial problems and all sorts of unhappinesses in this world. Our own internal desires and frustrations and fears. We feel we're tired. It's concrete truth. How can you say it's not true? And yet Vedanta has this radical, devastating bombshell. It teaches us that you're not really bound. And yet we feel we are. Then what's the way out? The only way out is what was done with the donkey, is to dehypnotize, to show that you're not really bound. And that's all that Vedanta does. This feeling that we are bound, I am a body, I am a mind, this is called superimposition, adhyaropaha. And the whole technique of showing us that we are not bound, we never were, we are not, and we will never be, it's impossible. That we are always the unlimited, we are never limited as bodies. This technique is called desuperimposition. Swami Vivekananda called it hypnotization and dehypnotization. So this desuperimposition, in Sanskrit this is called apavadaha, desuperimposition. That is the going to the motions to the so-called untying of the donkey. So this is the method. We will see. An assignment to all those who are hearing these stories is that when we go through the remaining 4 stories, which will illustrate the central teachings of Vedanta, notice the superimposition and the desuperimposition. Always. In all Vedantic teaching, notice the superimposition, desuperimposition. All the stories, which we will see now, will have this superimposition, desuperimposition. Adhyaropa, apavada. The hypnotization and dehypnotization, pointing to the Vedantic truth. First is arguably one of the most popular stories. It has become very popular. Lots of people tell me, Swami, tell us that story. Is this true or is that true? Ye sach ya wo sach. So this story, I'll never forget the first time I heard it. It was really quite in dramatic settings. I was in Gangotri in the Himalayas, and this monk, after our afternoon prasad, after getting bhiksha food, we would go for a walk in the mountains surrounding Gangotri, 10,000 feet high in the Himalayas, surrounded by forests. The Ganges, Ganga rushing by, a narrow, fast stream, hundreds of feet below. And we'd walk the narrow mountain paths until it came close to sunset, and then we would go back to our huts, caves, whatever. So one day, while walking with these monks, one of those monks, he was a really good storyteller. Only later I discovered that he would lengthen the stories or shorten them according to the sunset. Like it would go on and on until the sunset. So one of the stories, which was this story of the Emperor Janaka. The mighty Emperor Janaka, he goes to sleep one day in his palace, and at night he's suddenly awakened. Your Highness, wake up! Your Highness, wake up! What's wrong? The enemy has attacked. The enemy is upon us. There's an invasion. We must go and defend our kingdom, our empire. And the emperor says, he jumps out of bed and he says, call out the army, call the generals, give me my armor, my bow and arrows, my sword and shield. And he goes out to fight the enemy in the dead of the night. And there's a terrible battle. And unfortunately, poor Janaka is defeated. He is captured by the enemy soldiers, put in chains and dragged before the invader. The invading king says that, "Oh Janaka, you are of royal blood, so I will not kill you. But you are banished from your kingdom, your empire. It's now mine. I am the conqueror. You are to leave henceforth." And so Janaka, poor Janaka, what can he do? He's wounded and exhausted and devastated by his terrible loss. He walks and walks, begs for food somewhere, begs for water elsewhere, and nobody is willing to help him. He was the emperor yesterday, and today nobody wants to help him. They are scared of the new tyrant, the invader. And they say, you go, leave the kingdom as soon as possible. And poor Janaka, he walks to the border, and he crosses over to the next kingdom, which I always say leads me to think that his empire couldn't have been all that big. If within a few hours he could cross the border. And then he goes there to the other side of the border, and there he sees poor people. It's like a soup kitchen, poor people are being fed. So in India they are called annakshetras, food places. So there's a long queue line of people waiting for the rice and lentils preparation. Khichdi we call it in India. And Janaka stands there hopefully. When it's his turn, he comes there, and the man who's serving, he says, "We are all out, we just finished." And Janaka can't take it anymore. He says, "Whatever is there at the bottom of the cauldron, of the bottle of the bottom of the barrel, just give me that." So whatever was there, the last dregs, those are scooped out and put in a bowl and given to this poor man who is obviously suffering. And Janaka, with trembling hands, brings the bowl to his lips, and a kite was circling, swoops down and knocks the bowl from his hands, and it goes all spilt in the dust, the last of the food. And poor Janaka can't take it anymore. He collapses on the ground there, and saying, "Ha ha." I heard the story in Hindi. "Ha ha kar karte hue," the monk said. Which the ha ha in Hindi means exactly the opposite of what it means in English. So in Hindi or in Indian languages, ha ha means alas, alas, not the English ha ha. And he falls on the ground, weeping, and sits up on his bed. His heart pounding and all sweaty, and he looks around in the dark royal bedchamber. He had obviously shouted, and the guard, the sentry, runs in and says, "Your Highness, is anything wrong?" Of course, at that moment, any one of us would have said, "Oh, that was a dream, a nightmare. Thank God, everything is fine." But he's a philosopher. Janaka is a philosopher. So he says, "Ye sach ya wo sach." Was that true or is this true? The sentry is bewildered. He doesn't know what to make of that. He runs and calls the queen. And the queen, grumbling, comes. It's late in the night. "What's wrong with the old man now?" And the emperor says, in a confused, in a pondering tone, "Yes, such, yeah, was such." Was that true or is this true? The queen is also confused and worried. She calls the doctor, and the doctor takes his pulse and says, "Sir, is anything hurting? What are you uncomfortable? What's wrong? Is this true or was that true?" And that's what he keeps on doing. And next day in the morning, no Twitter in those days, but the grapevine or the lotus wine. And the story is all around in the city and the marketplace that the emperor has lost his marbles. He just sits there saying, "Was that true or is this true?" And the sage Ashtavakra is visiting the city, and he's friends with the emperor. They have discussions on Vedanta on and off. So he hears that his friend the emperor has lost his marbles. He's gone crazy. He keeps saying, "Is this true or is that true?" So he decides to pay his friend the emperor a visit. The sage goes to the court, and the emperor is sitting there on his throne, surrounded by his queen and ministers and generals and courtiers. And everybody's bewildered. They don't know what to do. They go up to, you can imagine the scene, they go up to the emperor, "Please sign the bill to continue the government," or something like that in the past, in the Congress or something like that. And the emperor says, "Is this true or is that true? Is this true or was that true?" So the work of the empire has come to a standstill, and they don't know what to do. So Ashtavakra goes and says, "So emperor, how are you today?" And the emperor says, "Was that true or is this true?" And Ashtavakra, being this omniscient sage, of course knows what the emperor is referring to. So he says, that defeat, that humiliation, that terrible loss, and the pain and the hunger and the exhaustion, when you were rolling on the ground and crying, "Ha ha, alas, alas," is all of that here now, right now? He's emperor, as if coming out of a stupor, he says, "No, it's not here." And all of this, your might, your generals and your queen and your army and all of this glory, was all of this there at that time? The emperor says, "No, none of it was there." So emperor, neither this is true nor that is true. Na ye sach, na wo sach. Neither this is true nor that is true. The emperor is stunned. Is this a nihilistic philosophy? Nothing is true? And the emperor says, "So is nothing true? Everything is void, everything is empty? All is false?" And the sage says, "No, emperor. All of this, it is not true. It is an appearance. And yet you are here, you experience it, do you not? So yes. And there, that was a dream. It's not true. That defeat, the exhaustion and all that humiliation, and the frustration and the pain, no. But you did experience it, right? You saw it. You were there. You saw it. You were there and you saw that. Emperor says, yes. You saw that and you saw this. You are seeing this. Yes. Then Emperor, neither this is true nor that is true, but you are the truth. Na yes sach, na wo sach, tum hi sach. Now this is the story. And this illustrates the core teaching of Vedanta. Brahma satyam jagat mithya jiva brahmaiva napara. Brahman alone is true, is the reality. The world is an appearance. And you, the individual sentient being, the one who considers himself or herself to be a samsari in trouble and sorrow, you are that absolute reality. How so? So this is a teaching straight from the Mandukya Upanishad, where we are asked to consider our experiences. Our whole days are constituted of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Our waking days. So I am the waker, and I have experienced my waker's world, the people and the relationships and the jobs and the house and my own body and all the issues that I have, all the hopes that I have, all of that I experience. That is called the waker's world. And I am the waker, this person in this body. But I fall asleep. And in no time, this entire waker's world is erased. Even my awareness of the body goes, the body is sleeping. My awareness now sees another world, constituted by my mind. I know that after waking up. But it seems like a real world out there. And I am there in that world. I'm moving around, doing things and enjoying and suffering. That's a dream. So I am the person in the dream, the dreamer and the dreamer's world. Yeah. And then that also ceases. I go into deep sleep. No external world, no body, no mind, no subject, no object, all merged into one uniform blankness, deep sleep. That also comes, and that also goes. All of these come and go to one awareness. Oh, who is that? You! You are the one who sees the waking world. You are the one who sees the dream world. And you are the one who sees the darkness of the deep sleep. You, the awareness. As Ashtavakra said to Janak, to the emperor, Tum hi sach. You are the truth. But which you? The one who's sitting on the throne? The one who's rolling in the dust? Neither this body nor that body can be the ultimate truth. It came and went in your awareness. Neither this world of the empire and your glory, nor that world of the defeat and disaster, neither of them can be true. They came and went. But what is true? The awareness which saw both. Both are movies. But the one who saw the movies is true. To you, the consciousness is presented the waker and the waker's world. In Sanskrit, in the Mandukya terms, Vishwa and Jagrat Prapancha. To you, the consciousness is presented the second, the dreamer and the dreamer's world. In Sanskrit terms, in the Upanishadic terms, the Taijasa and the Swapna Prapancha, dreamer and dreamer's world. To you, the awareness is presented the absence of deep sleep, the blankness, the absence, not absence of sleep, the absence which is experienced in deep sleep. In Upanishadic terms, Pragya and Sushupti avastha. Sushupti prapancha. Now the prapancha literally means the world in detail, prapancha. So in Sushupti, in deep sleep, there is no world in detail. It's just a merged blankness. These are the three which come and go. Three sets. Three sets of what? Subject, object. Right now, there's a subject, you. And there's an object, this objective universe. In dream also, there's a subject, you, the dreamer. And there's an object, the dream world. In deep sleep also, there's a subject-object, but the subject-object are merged into one. So it's a blankness. These three pairs, subject-object pairs, they are presented to the awareness, you yourself, counting from the perspective of waker, dreamer, deep sleeper. You, the awareness, can be called the fourth. Waker, 1. Dreamer, 2. Deep sleeper, 3. You, the awareness itself, pure consciousness, pure awareness. Pure awareness means not dressed up as the waker, not dressed up as the dreamer, not dressed up as the deep sleeper, but you in yourself. That one, that awareness can be called the fourth. In Sanskrit terms, Vishwa, Tejasa, Pragya, and the fourth is called Turiya. The word Turiya in Sanskrit simply means four. That's all. It just means the number 4. This number 4 is actually not the fourth. It is the one which appears as the 3. That consciousness, you yourself. It is the example which I love giving is of the gold and the ornaments. It is the same gold which appears as the necklace. If you melt it and make it into a bracelet, the same gold, exact same material will appear as a bracelet. Melt it and make it into a ring. The same gold will appear as a ring. Names are different. Necklace, bracelet, ring. They look different. Necklace, bracelet, ring. Their uses are different. Necklace you put here, the bracelet you put here, the ring you put on your finger. Name, form and use are different. Nama, Rupa, Vyavahara in Sanskrit. They're different. And yet you know it's exactly the same material. And that material gold alone is the reality. Not the name, not the form, not even the use. You see, how can you say that the name and form and use are not real? They're not real in a very technical sense. The technical sense is, without the gold, they don't stand. What does it mean? Without the gold, what will be left of the necklace? Nothing. Literally nothing. The form will disappear. Take away the gold, the form will disappear. With no form at all, can you use it? Can you put something around your neck? No. It will be like that emperor's new clothes story. The emperor has no clothes. Then what does the name necklace refer to? Without the form, without the ornament called necklace, what does the word necklace refer to? Nothing. It becomes a word without a referent. This is called falsity. All the time it is the same reality. Now notice, the reality gold is not affected by the names and forms. When it is a necklace, it is same gold. When it is a bracelet, same gold. When it is a ring, same gold. Nothing has happened to it. To gold qua gold. As gold, nothing has happened to it. It's perfectly all right. This consciousness alone appears as the gross universe, the physical universe, as this physical body through awareness, through mind and sense organs, experiencing a physical world. Same awareness, without any change at all. Now projects itself just as a mental universe called dream, through the mind, dressed up as the dream person, the Tejasa. The same awareness now shuts down all projections and is there left with the blankness of all projections, which is deep sleep. You are that awareness. It is not affected by the goings on in the physical world, the so-called problems, or the nightmares or the problems of the dream world, or the blankness of the deep sleep. They come and go. They are mere entertainment to you, the limitless awareness. And the Turiya, the 7th mantra of the Mandukya, magnificent mantra, which tells us the details of this. But this is the story. What have we learned? That this Turiya alone is real. Real in the sense, the rest are like movies. Waking, dreaming, deep sleep, like waking and dreaming are like 2 movies. Deep sleep is like switching up the movie. Turiya is constant. Then all of these movies and whatever is going on is within the Turiya. That within in the sense that it's not apart from the Turiya. It's not like actually a movie hall where you're sitting there and there is actually a movie separate from you playing. Movie is not inside you, movie is outside you and you are watching the movie. That's the Sankhya philosophy. The consciousness watching the play of Prakriti. But here in Advaita, notice, just as in a dream the whole thing is in your mind, similarly, the whole waking, dreaming and deep sleep are in Turiya, are an appearance in Turiya. They are not separate realities. It is non-dual. A movie is actually not non-dual. Actual movie, if you go to a hall, cinema hall and watch, it's not non-dual because you are the audience and there is the movie separately. Though it's a movie, it's not real, but still a separate thing apart from you. Here it's not like that. It's all within Turiya. It's all an appearance in Turiya, not different from Turiya. This is what is in Vedanta called Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Brahman alone is real, the world is an appearance. And who are you? You are not really the waker. You are not really the dreamer. You are not really the deep sleeper. You are Turiya. This is the meaning of the phrase, Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. The Jiva is none other than Brahman. You are the Absolute. And now you can happily play being the waker, the dreamer, and the deep sleeper, knowing all the time that you are the Absolute. The actor can play at all kinds of roles on Broadway. None of the roles really touch or affect the actor. The actor can play a beggar without his financial situation being ruined. And equally, the actor can play at being a billionaire without actually becoming a billionaire. So none of the things that the actor plays in the Broadway theater actually affects the actor. Neither financially nor physically. Health can play a dying person, can play an athlete without becoming either. So you are that unaffected awareness. The projection takes three forms: gross, subtle, and causal. Gross or physical, which is this world. Still a projection. Subtle is the dream world, all mental. And the causal, which is the deep sleep, the seed form from which all of this comes. If somebody asks, no, you are equating dream and waking. The Ashtavakra, the sage, said, neither this is real nor that is real. But dreams and waking are different. In Mandukya, which is very advanced non-dualism, dreams and waking are equated. The waking is no more real than the dream. We protest immediately. We say, no. How can the waking be the same as the dream? They're different. The waking is real and the dream is not real. How so? Well, we say, in the waking world, things work. So if I'm thirsty, the water in the waking world will satisfy my thirst. There is no such water in the dream world. It's a fiction. But that's not a valid comparison. If you're thirsty in the dream, which water will affect you? You may have a bottle of water next to your bed when you're sleeping. That bottle of water is not available to you in the dream. It's only the water in the dream which will quench your thirst in the dream. It is only the water in the waking which will quench your thirst in the waking. Feeling hungry in the dream. You left your pizza in the fridge, left over. In the dream you're feeling hungry. That pizza will not help you. You have to have food in the dream, which will help you. So it is not that utility is a utility. In the Sanskrit they say artha kriyakaritvam. Is it an argument for reality? No. You find utility in dream and waking alike. You cannot distinguish on the ground of utility. Another argument is, no, waking is real and dream is false. Why? Because all the people and the things we see in the waking world are out there. They're not in my mind. And whatever I saw in the dream were in the mind, inside. What is imagined in the mind is not real. What is actually there. See, there's a clock out here. It's a real clock. If I imagine a clock, that's not a real clock. So in the dream, everything is imagined. But in the waking world, there are things outside my mind, outside my body. These are real things. That's again not true. The same difference between inner and outer is maintained in the dream. In the dream, don't you see people and things outside? And don't you have imaginations inside, so-called inside and out? And when you wake up, the whole thing will have been imagined. The distinction between inner and outer, just externality, so-called externality, is not a differentiator between waking and dream. It's not enough to say that the waking is real and the dream is false. In dream also things appear to be external and internal to you. Similar is another argument which comes forth, is that in the waking world things are real because they are publicly. All of us see the same thing. We don't see my dreams. My dreams are private. They are my imaginations. But this waking world, don't you share a public, a common shared reality, a public reality? I am sitting on the chair and you see the same chair too. You too can come and sit on it. You see it, you can use it. So we share a reality in the waking. So the waking world is real. The dream worlds are private. Each person's dream is separate. That seems to be convincing at first sight, but that's also not true. In one's own dream, which is private, no doubt. But in that dream, the distinction between private and public is also there. If you go and meet your friend, suppose you are having coffee with your friend, You have to sit outdoor, and now it's snowing or something. You can't. So, if you have coffee with your friend in a cafe in Manhattan, and it may be snowing, and people say that, oh, how can we have coffee here because it's snowing? Imagine there, your friend does not say in your dream, oh, all the coffee and the snow is in your mind, I can't see anything. No. In your dream, you see the coffee and the snow falling, and your friend also sees it. And when you wake up, the whole thing was in your mind. So in the public shared reality is also there in the dream. Just because it's a public shared reality does not mean that dreams are less real than the waking. No, the same situation holds in dreams also. So if you think in this way, it's quite eerie, it's creepy, you begin to blur the difference between, it becomes like science fiction. Yes. So that is the story of ye sach ya wo sach. Is this true or is that true? You are the only truth is consciousness, and the universe appears to consciousness, to you the consciousness. Notice the assignment which I gave you at the beginning. The superimposition, desuperimposition, adhyaropa apavada. Which part of it is the superimposition? When the king Janaka, Emperor Janaka, he thought that I have been defeated and I have lost my empire, and he was sad about it, and he thought that this is my, I'm still in the court and surrounded by my courtiers and waking and dreaming, and he was confused. Which is real? Is this real or is that real? Both of them are superimpositions. Both of them have so-called tied the donkey. And the desuperimposition, when Ashtavakra comes and tells him, neither that is real, nor this is real. You are the reality. That is the desuperimposition. Apavada. Adhyaropa apavada. By the method of superimposition, desuperimposition. Superimposition we have already done ourselves. Janaka had already done, waking, dreaming. But because he was a philosopher, he had viveka, the discernment. He had the question, is this really true? We go from dream to dream and take it to be true. First the dream, Janaka's dream, that seemed to be true. Then he comes to waking, that also seems to be true. Janaka questioned, and thereupon came the answer, neither of them is true. That is the desuperimposition, untying the donkey. All the time, Janaka was consciousness itself. Neither the defeated one rolling on the ground and crying ha ha kara, nor the glorious one sitting on the throne surrounded by courtiers. Both are appearances, both are movies playing on the one consciousness, the Turiya. Okay. This consciousness which we are, how to realize that? How to break away from the body-mind identification? So that's the next story. This is the even more well-known story of the 10th man. Here, the 10th man story you find in many places. Actually, there is a textual reference. For example, in the Panchadashi, Vidyaranya mentions the 10th man story, and he makes a big deal out of it. So the 10th man story is well-known. 10 friends were on a journey, and they crossed a river. And after having crossed the river, they thought, did we all cross safely, or did anybody drown? Let's count. One of them counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, our 10th person has drowned. Our poor friend is dead. The others said, you're not counting right, let me count. And each one counted, and they found only 9 people. Obviously, they were not counting themselves. And they sat down and started crying. Our friend, the 10th man is dead, has drowned. Along comes the wise person and says, why are you crying, my friends? Oh, we were 10 on a journey, and our 10th person, our friend, has drowned. How do you know that? We counted, and we found only 9. And this person must have counted them and found that there were 10 people sitting and crying, and he realized what had happened. So he tells them, don't cry, my friends. The 10th person is there. Where? Don't cry, relax, believe me. You see, this is where the teaching comes from the scriptures and the guru. 10th person is there. The reality is there. God is there. Atman is there. We don't know yet. It's still theoretical for us. We are just hearing this. So they are saying, yes, all right, we'll believe you, but where? We don't find him. I'll show you. Count. We counted. There were only 9. Humor me, count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this wise man comes and turns the hand and says, thou art the 10th. 10. And the counter goes, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I found the 10th person. That's wonderful. And the others say, let me try. And they all try and they find the 10th person. And they're all happy. Now this story points to 2 things. 1, the exact precise nature of enlightenment. And 2, the entire spiritual journey. First of all, the crucial teaching about how to know ourselves as the witness consciousness. So take up any method of Vedantic inquiry, the method of the 5 sheets of the human personality, or even the waking, dreaming, deep sleep, which we talked about. The 5 sheets, the physical body, the vital body, the mental body, the intellect, and the bliss body. And the Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and the Anandamaya. Are you this body? You start with what is most obvious, what is most external, what is everybody knows. Yes, who are you? Where are you? Here. What is this? It's me. It is I. What are you? This. Start with the body. And then we are shown how we cannot be the body. We are not the baby's body and the child's body and the teenager's body, middle age and old age. I identify with each one. I say I am the same one. The 2 are not alike. They are very different from each other. And yet I say I am that one, and that one. Therefore I, the unchanging and the completely changing body, I cannot be the same. The changing and unchanging, they cannot be the same thing. I am making a mistake here. Not only that, the body is something that I am aware of. I am aware of the body. The body is not aware of me. So I am consciousness, awareness. The body is non-conscious, insentient. Not only that, it's an object. I am the seer, the body is the seen. So because of these reasons, in Sanskrit, savikara, nirvikara, with change, without change. Drishya and drashta, seer and the seen. Chetana and jada, sentient and insentient. Because of these reasons, I cannot be the body. The body is here, but I am not the body. I am the unchanging, conscious seer. The body is ever-changing, not conscious, and it's the seen, the object. Then our attention is directed inwards. Let the body be like a sheath. The pranamaya, the breath, the life forces. The most obvious of which is the breath. Am I the breath? Am I life itself? And the same arguments can be applied. It is changing, it is an object, it is not conscious. You are unchanging, you are the subject, and you are conscious. How can you be the breath? Then our attention is directed inwards, further inwards. Not the Anandamaya, not the Pranamaya, but the mind. Am I the mind? Most people identify with the mind. I'm the person, this mind. The thinker, the one who feels, one who collects all perceptions, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, that mind. Am I that? Again, same thing. The mind is ever changing. Happy mind, sad mind. I'm happy, I'm sad. I'm the same one who was happy and I'm the same one who's sad now. I'm the same one. The mind has changed so much. From childhood till now, the mind has changed so much. Imagine the thoughts we had when we were little kids. Imagine the feelings we had when we were little kids. The memories we had at one time. Very different from the thoughts, feelings and memories which we have now. Which mind am I? You say, no, Swami, you're confusing us. I was that mind and I am this one now. But the 2 are entirely different. How can you be the same and be entirely different at the same time? The once monk who was teaching said this in Hindi. Main dono hi hu. I'm both. I said, wonderful. Gada bhi or ghoda bhi. And you're the donkey and the horse also. The 2 are different. If the 2 are different, how can you be identical with and still remain the same? So it's logically impossible. So I'm not the mind. Am I the intellect which is doing all this inquiry? Same thing. Changing. Object. Non-sentient. Insentient. I am the unchanging subject. and conscious. I am aware. It is something I am aware of. I cannot be the intellect, not the Vijnanamaya. Then the blankness beyond that, which is experienced in deep sleep, Sushupti, Anandamaya, not even that, for the same reasons. And here the Upanishad keeps quiet. From Taittiriya Upanishad, this teaching is there. We are supposed to see the Atman, the pure consciousness. We are waiting. It will be revealed to us. Grosser, to subtler, to causal. And then the Atman? No. The Upanishad says nothing. Then I don't exist. You see, all that I thought I was now has been revealed to be not me. It's there, but it's not me. Then who am I? Then the Upanishad asks you to turn inwards to the witness of the five sheets. You see, why did the counter, one who was counting the 9 people, why did he not find the 10th one? Our answer will be, because he did not count himself. Correct. But why did he not count himself? Where was he expecting to find the 10th one? This is very crucial. He was expecting to find the 10th one out there. Why? Why was he so foolish? Because it's not foolish at all. He's very reasonable. He's operating on the principle where he found the other 9, the 10th one should also be there. Where else will it be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 10th one should be there, not there. Because everything that he found was objective, it's trained into thinking, habituated into thinking that whatever exists must be an object. But what about he himself, the subject? There's one thing which is not an object. Similarly, whatever we thought of ourselves as body and the vital forces and the mind and the intellect, and even beyond the intellect, the blankness, they're all objects. Ask yourself, to whom? That is the turning. At that point, you have to do it intuitively. Yeah. Vedanta has done as much as possible, taken you to the very verge of that luminous gap between object and subject. The next step must be yours. You must intuitively grasp, I am the awareness to which the 5 sheets appear. I am the awareness to which waking, dreaming and deep sleep appear. I am that 4th to which the waker, dreamer and deep sleepers appear and disappear. So that turning inwards, that's what the 10th man story shows. Then Vidyaranya shows the entire spiritual journey in Vedanta. First step in 7 stages through that story. 7 stages of the spiritual journey in Vedanta. First step, ajnana, ignorance. They did not know that the 10th man was there. They were not aware of the 10th man being there. Similarly, we do not know of ourselves as the Atman, as being consciousness bliss, as unlimited. We don't know. Somehow we don't know. We are born with this ignorance. Shankaracharya says in his Brahma Sutra Bhashya introduction, he says, Naisargiko ayam loka vyavahara. Naisargika means natural. We are born with natural ignorance about our own nature. He did not know. That's step 1. Next, what happens? Not knowing the existence of the 10th man, they fall into the error. Ignorance leads to error. In Sanskrit, ajnana to adhyasa. What is the error? He is drowned. He's drowned. The 10th man is drowned. We are led into error. What is the error? Not knowing that we are pure consciousness. We are presented with a body and mind. The error, I am this body and mind. Its hunger is my hunger. Not that I am the awareness of the hunger, which is the truth actually, but I am hungry. Its pain is my pain. Not that I am aware of the pain. It's I am in pain. It hurts. I am in hurt. It starts naturally as babies. So I identify with it directly. You don't have to go to ignorance school to learn ignorance. You have to go to knowledge school to learn knowledge. The ignorance, Shankaracharya says, naturally it comes. Ignorance to error. Second stage is error. Ajnana to adhyasa. What happens? The man is dead, is drowned. Not there, therefore drowned. Third stage, sorrow. They sit down and cry, alas, our poor friend, he drowned. Now we have lost our friend, the 10th man. This is called samsara. Not knowing our real nature, we make the error. Third stage, dukkha, samsara. I am old, I am sick, I am poor, I am dying, nobody loves me, I am a failure, I am alone in the world. All false, totally false. This is samsara. This is the third stage, samsara. Fourth stage, the guru comes and tells, the 10th man is there. That is, 10th man is there. He tells the truth. The Guru, the Upanishad comes, Vedanta comes and tells us that there is, you are the Atman. Tattvamasi, you are the Atman. There is the Atman which is existence, consciousness, bliss. This is called paroksha jnana, the indirect knowledge. The stage at which we are told. We don't know yet. We read it. We hear of it. We admit that this could be a possibility, but we don't see it. That's the stage at which those travelers said, where is the 10th man? You are saying the 10th man is still there. We need not cry. The Guru says, do not grieve. Means God exists, Brahman exists, that Atman is there. You are actually free right now. There is no sorrow right now. But we see sorrow, we see suffering. How is it that I am free of suffering right now? I will show you. This is paroksha jnana. Then comes the aparoksha jnana, the direct, the showing. Please count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Thou art the 10th. Dashamastvamasi in Sanskrit. Thou art the 10th. Oh, I am the 10th. This is called aparoksha jnana, direct knowledge. When the Guru shows and you practice it, you notice the physical self, the I am not the body. The vital body, I am not that. The mental body, I am not that. The intellect body, I am not that. The blankness beyond the intellect, the causal body, I am not that. And intuitively you grasp the consciousness. Grasp means I am that consciousness. I am the awareness of all of them. All the problems of the body are in the body. All the problems of the mind are in the mind. All the ignorance and confusion in the intellect. I am the witness of all of that. I am free of ill health, COVID. I am free of hunger and thirst. I am free of depression and frustration. I am free of ignorance and confusion. See the 5 sheets, the problems associated with them. I am the witness of them. I am not saying that they are not there. Those things are there in where they belong. One Uttarakhand sadhu put it very beautifully. He said the solution in Vedanta is to keep things in their own place. Ill health, put it in its own place. Don't put it on yourself. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the body. See, no denial, no escapism. Ill health is there in the body. It has to be treated, taken care of. Do yoga, go to the doctor, whatever has to be done. But it's in the body. It belongs to the body. Be clear about that. Put it where it belongs. Put things in their own place. Don't put things on yourself which don't belong there. So, this is the aparoksha jnana, the direct realization. The difference between telling and showing. I have a talk coming up later next week. Methodology of teaching in Vedanta. That's a unique methodology of teaching in Vedanta. Not just a book, not just a lecture, not just a talk or a PowerPoint or a chalk and blackboard, but actually showing. What did the teacher do? 10th man, that thou art. He didn't just say, there's the 10th man, you are the 10th man and go away. He showed what you are not and what you are. So that is called aparoksha jnana, direct realization. That's the 5th stage. The 6th stage is dukkha nivritti, sorrow is gone. The 10th man has been found. Thank God. They stop crying. Sorrow is gone. I cannot die. Poverty and ill health do not affect me. Things done and not done. They say enlightened person characteristic. Interesting characteristic of enlightened person mentioned in the Upanishad. Krita krite na tapati. Is not worried about what's been done and not done. The to-do list he tears up and throws away. Nothing. None of that is there. You are always complete. The doing and not doing, things left undone and things which have been done, neither of them can complete you or diminish you in the least. So, sorrow is gone. There's nothing to be sorry about. Even the past, still, now I realize I'm all right, but in the past so much suffering, that suffering also was not necessary. There's no reality to that, like the suffering in a dream. I was all right then too. And because I am the underlying reality of the universe also, everybody in the universe was all right, is all right, and is going to be all right. It's perfectly all right. Then what happens? 7th stage. Ananda Prapti, bliss, joy, fulfillment. This very unlimited nature of the theory of the Atman, which is realized, that itself is joy. There's nothing lacking anymore. A sense of fulfillment comes, and an unshakable, such a secure sense of fulfillment. It cannot be affected by anything in the world, external or internal in the mind. Nothing can affect that fulfillment. Even in the worst of sorrows, Gita says, na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. It cannot be affected. So 7 stages. Ajnana, ignorance, then error, adhyasa, and then the sorrow, samsara, dukkha, then the indirect teaching, the knowledge you get from teachers and books, and then the direct realization, paroksha jnana, then the dukkha nivritti, sorrow is removed, and then finally the ananda prapti. Of course, dukkha nivritti, ananda prapti, they come immediately after direct realization. 7 stages, all illustrated by the story of the 10th man. Such a wonderful story, you see. The whole of Vedanta is packed into it. The stages of spiritual life. The methodology of the difference between telling and showing something. That skill in teaching. And the exact nature of enlightenment, that turn inwards. Those 5 I am not, the 5 sheets. 3 states of waking, dreaming, deep sleep. I am not. The causal, the subtle and the gross. I am not. I am the one to which whom they appear. That turn, intuitive turn. It's all illustrated by this one story. Again, try that superimposition, desuperimposition, your assignment. What was the superimposition? That the 10th man is dead. And consequent sorrow. What is the desuperimposition? The 10th man is alive and showing that I am the 10th. That same tying the donkey and untying the donkey. You see, the same thing is going on here. Not one bit different. Then the 4th story, where the result of all enlightenment is shown. How is it that realizing I am the Atman will solve all my problems? All your desires are fulfilled by realization of Brahman. So ashnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipascheteti. Taittiriya Upanishad says, the one who realizes Brahman, I am Brahman, all desires are fulfilled at once. How? All sorrow and lack is removed at once. How? Just by knowing something, how is that all desires fulfilled? Something we are running after crazily throughout our lives. How can it be fulfilled all at once, at one instant and forever? So the story of the princess of Kashi. Another golden oldie. So in one ancient Indian kingdom, a theatrical performance was staged in the king's court, and one of the characters was supposed to be the princess of Kashi. Kashi is Benares, the ancient spiritual city. So the princess of Kashi is this play is not in Kashi, it's in some other kingdom. And the princess of Kashi is supposed to be a character in that play. Now the queen said, who is going to play? This princess of Kashi is supposed to be a little girl. Who is going to play the little girl? The queen said, well, the prince, her son, was 5 years old at that time. You can dress him up as a girl. He looks cute. You'll put him and dress him up as a princess, and he'll be the princess of Kashi. And that's how it happened. And the play was staged successfully. The prince looked so cute in the princess's dress that the queen said, paint a photograph. Now, nowadays, selfie or photograph. But in those days, you had to get the court painter, and the prince had to pose in the dress, and the painter painted him princess of Kashi, dated so and so. Big portrait was made. 15 years passed. The prince grew up and was doing all kinds of princely things, riding and shooting arrows and learning and things like that. One day, while exploring the palace, he went down to an attic, to a cellar, an old place where junk was kept. And he found this old painting. He wiped the dust of it and he saw the Princess of Kashi and saw the date 15 years ago. Oh, she must be my age now. And he fell in love with her. I will marry this. She will be my queen. Without her, I will not be happy in this life. Now, he is too shy to tell his mother or his father, but he moped and he wouldn't pay attention to his studies or his training as the prince. And everybody noticed that the prince is not happy. But why? He wouldn't say. So one day a wise old minister took him aside and said, Prince, what ails you? You can tell me, confide in me. He said, I am in love. Oh, good. Who is she? She is the Princess of Kashi. Oh, good, a princess, even better. Where did you meet her? He said, I haven't met her, but I saw her picture. And it's an old picture, but she's my age. Clearly the date shows she must be my age. The minister said, old picture, Princess of Kashi. Can you take me to that picture? And the prince took him down into the cellar and showed him the picture. And the minister said, Prince, you need to sit down. Why? And he told him that this is not the Princess of Kashi. Oh, whoever she is, I will marry her. No, wait. There was this theatrical performance 15 years ago. And the role of the Princess of Kashi, your mother, the queen, she said to dress you up in the princess's dress. And we dressed you up and it was painted. And this is that painting, that thou art, Tattvamasi. You are that. And of course, the princess, the problem was entirely solved immediately. But the question is, how was the problem solved? Did the prince marry the Princess of Kashi and then his desire was fulfilled? No. Did he find out that the Princess of Kashi is dead or married to somebody else and so it cannot be fulfilled? You see, fulfillment of desire and frustration of desire. These are the two things that happen in the world. Neither of them are solutions. Then how was it fulfilled? He realized that there is no Princess of Kashi apart from him. All along, he himself was the Princess of Kashi. This world is our Princess of Kashi. Swami Vivekananda says, things are dead in themselves. We breathe life into them. Then we'll run after them or run away from them. Not just attraction, fear also. Repulsion also, terror also. All of those things are like the Princess of Kashi. It's not a thing apart from you. It is you dressed up in the form of temptation or terror. Temptation, I run towards it. It's a mirage apart from me. It's nothing there apart from me. Terror, I run away from it. It's a mirage apart from me. There's nothing there that can harm me, the consciousness. Once we realize that, this whole universe becomes one with me. Like the Princess of Kashi became one with the prince. And realized that all the time. Just because out of error, we thought outside. But actually, it is one and the same. I am that. There is none of that outside me. No matter how tempting, no matter how scary, how attractive or how repulsive, it's all me. Everybody is I. Every object is I. Every event is I. I means the one consciousness, which is common to all of us. So this grand teaching, it solves the problem of desire. Once and for all. It shows the problem of desire to be a mirage. It shows that fulfillment is our eternally ours. We are eternally fulfilled. We project it outside ourselves. We identify with one body and mind and we say, now I need those things. I'm afraid of those things. And then samsara starts for us. Again notice, hypnotize, dehypnotize, superimposition, desuperimposition. What was the superimposition? The prince thought, there is a Princess of Kashi. I am in love with her and I have to marry her. Then only I will be happy. Superimposition. Samsara has started. Desuperimposition. Jagat mithya, the world is an appearance. Appearance of what? Of you. You are appearing in a mirror as your own reflection. You are now scared of your reflection or attracted to your reflection. That reflection is nothing apart from you. That is desuperimposition. Tying the donkey and untying the donkey. Just the illusion had to be cleared up. The problem had... This is not to be solved. It's to be dissolved. What is the solution? The solution is, there is the princess of Kashi and now we must give her a proposal and get married, get the prince married to the princess of Kashi. That's a solution. Or it's a failure, that maybe she's already married and there's no possibility of you marrying the princess of Kashi. That's solution, successful or failure. But that's not true. That's still within the mirage. The truth is, there is no princess of Kashi apart from you. That is the untying the donkey. Same method. Adhyaropa apavadabhyam nishprapancham prapanchate. By the method of superimposition and disuperimposition is the transcendent taught. Final story, fifth story. This is a real golden oldie because Swami Vivekananda is one of his favorite stories and it sums up the whole of Vedanta very nicely. Now it's a very popular story, even children, they read about it. And it can be applied, you don't have to apply just to Advaita Vedanta. It's something that we can interpret in any context. It's a very positive story. So this lioness who was hunting a flock of sheep, she jumped on the sheep and she was heavy with young and she died and gave birth to a cub. And the lion cub, the little cub, its mother was dead and it's surrounded by sheep and the sheep took care of it. And it slowly grew up thinking it was a sheep too. And over time, it bleated like the sheep, it made sheep friends, and it ate grass and walked around in the herd of sheep till it grew to be this huge young lion. But it still moved around with the sheep and ate grass. Now one day, this big old lion was hunting and saw a flock of sheep. It was going to attack them and eat. And then it saw in the middle of the sheep this huge young lion. Magnificent, handsome young lion, but bleating like the sheep and eating grass. And the old lion was very puzzled. What's going on here? So he carefully stalked the flock of sheep and isolated the young lion and ran after it. And the sheep ran, bleating in fear. And the young lion also ran, bleating in fear. Till the old lion went up to it and pounced upon him and caught him. And dragged him off away from the herd of sheep. And said, "Why are you behaving like this? You are a lion just as much as I am." And the young lion said, "Oh sir, please let me go, you're scaring me." He said, but you are a lion. Why are you bleating?" "No, I'm not a lion, I'm sheep, I'm a sheep." "Well, you come with me." And he takes him and shows him in a pool of water. "What I am, that you are also. Look at my face and look at your face." At first, the young lion was scared and trembling. And he saw, oh, the same face. Lion's face there and my face is the same thing. I am a lion too. Now roar like me. And he roared. And the young lion also roared and realized his identity as a lion. Remember, he was a lion to begin with. What is the sheep? Material universe, the 5 elements. In the midst of the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, space, this physical body and the vital body and the mind, in sitting in the midst of that, I, the consciousness, I also think I am like this. I am this material creature, subject to all change and destruction and death, limitation and sorrow. And when confronted by the universe, I get scared. I'm so tiny, I'm so helpless, I'm so limited. Born just the other day and now going to be extinguished. And then the Guru comes, the Upanishad comes, Vedanta comes and says, you are the lion of Vedanta. You are not a material creature. Vedanta Kesari. Vedanta Kesari means the lion of Vedanta. Roar. What is the roar? Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Not that I have to become Brahman. I'm a little creature, now I have to become the infinite. That's a big job. No. I am already that. I have to awaken to my true nature. Sooner we do it, the better for us. So that was Swami Vivekananda's story of the lion, the Vedantic lion, which is our true nature. Again, notice the tying of the donkey and untying of the donkey. The lion which thought it was a sheep, that's tying the donkey. And it was taught that you are not the sheep, you are a lion, that's untying the donkey. All throughout, the donkey was free. All throughout, the lion was the lion. All throughout, the princess of Kashi was one with the prince. All throughout, The 10th man was there. You yourself are the 10th man you are mourning for. All throughout, Janaka Raja was free of the waking and the dreaming. He was the consciousness. But it had to be shown. So these wonderful stories, they show us, they point to our real nature. That is the very methodology of Advaita Vedanta. So a storytelling session. Swami Vijnananda, I was reading, the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. There's a place where devotees are gathered around him. He was the president of the order at that time, in the 1930s. He says, Swami, tell us a story. The Swami curtly says, a story? Who do you think I am? Your grandmother? But then he tells a wonderful story. He says, this world is a story. Don't you see? It's a fairy tale. Once you see that, you will be happy. So, today I have done the grandmother role of telling these grand old stories of Vedanta. God knows since when they have been passed down from teacher to student. I pray to the Lord, to Sri Ramakrishna, to the Holy Mother, to Swami Vivekananda, to bless us with that Vedantic insight, to set free the donkey, untie the donkey, to set us free, to show us the glory within and the glory outside, everywhere, that one infinite being and consciousness and bliss. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.